By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly how to deal with toxic family without guilt over the holidays. So make sure you stick around till the end of the video because this one is going to empower you to get through the holidays without all the extra drama and trauma and insanity. So you don't want to miss this. Let's dive in. Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tammy M. Joyce. I'm an empowerment life coach specializing in codependency and narcissistic abuse recovery for empaths, scapegoats, and awakening light leaders. If you're new to my channel, a very special welcome. Please take a second to say hello and introduce yourself in the comments section below. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell so you never miss a new video. So let's talk about how to deal with toxic family without guilt over the holidays. Here's the thing. As much as the holiday season is supposed to be a really fabulous time for everybody, in reality, it isn't at all for a lot of people. In particular, for those of us who come from highly toxic and dysfunctional families and are still involved or enmeshed with these dysfunctional family members and all the crazy-making family dynamics that go along with that. It's been my experience that oftentimes we head into the holidays with high expectations and hopes that this year is going to be different somehow. But then we find ourselves deeply disappointed or utterly devastated even by the time the whole thing is over. Because frankly, it was either just as bad or worse than last year. And part of the reason for that is because left untreated, these issues that go along with family dysfunction, whether that's chronic alcoholism, addiction, untreated codependency, high spectrum destructive narcissism, and all the enabling and denial around all of that, these issues left untreated get worse, not better over time. And since most people aren't dealing with their issues, we set ourselves up for disappointment if we expect anything to be different or better this time around. Here's the thing, friends. Nothing changes if nothing changes. So ask yourself, what's different this year? Has anything changed? For real? Because year after year, there we are hoping it's going to be a different experience this year, and more often than not, it isn't. Rather, it ends up being a repetition of what we've experienced in previous years, if not significantly worse, which of course is painful. And not only is it a painful time of year for many people, it's an incredibly lonely and stressful time of year for many people. And those of us who are empaths can find ourselves taking till mid-January to recover from the whole ordeal. So what I want to offer you today are some tips, some things for you to take on board mentally and emotionally that will help you navigate the holidays with more grace and self-care so you can come out the other side, at the very least, mentally and emotionally intact. Holiday tip number 1, tell yourself the truth. It's vital that we start here. Be willing to recognize the reality and don't sugarcoat it. Not to yourself or anyone else. Tell yourself the truth even if it's hard, uncomfortable, or painful, especially if it's hard, uncomfortable, and painful. Denial, wishful, or delusional thinking don't help us get through this time of year with less drama or trauma. In fact, quite the opposite is true. So give yourself the gift of being dirt honest with yourself about who and what you're dealing with, and what you need to do to take care of yourself in the midst of it all, no matter who disapproves or doesn't like it. It's your job to take care of yourself, period. If you don't, who will? Here's what's true. People always tell us and show us exactly who they are. And if we're talking about your family, your extended family, or your in-laws, whoever it is that you might be struggling with having to spend time with over the holiday season, you probably already have all the information you need to have a good idea of who and what it is that you're dealing with. So the point that I'm really wanting to drive home here is be willing to tell yourself the truth and deal in reality. Often, in addition to being gaslit by other family members, we ourselves retreat to the comfort of denial and minimize the reality of the situation. And we do this in a feeble attempt to survive these toxic, destructive dynamics through really unhealthy ways of thinking and behaving. In doing so, not only do we enable and perpetuate the dysfunctional dynamic, we can actually seriously harm ourselves by deluding ourselves into believing that this year it's going to be different. Who are we kidding? The truth will always set you free one way or another. So don't sugarcoat anything. Don't minimize anything. Acknowledge the reality for what it is. Be willing to tell yourself and, where appropriate, others the truth about the situation, the discomfort, and what it is that is so problematic or painful for you. And that doesn't mean that you have to tell everyone or that it's your job to be taking everyone else's inventory. That's not what I mean at all. What I mean is just get real with yourself and, where appropriate, real with others about the situation. Don't go to unsafe people who aren't going to get it, but do support yourself with a solid support system of safe people. When you tell yourself the truth, you can then make your decisions from a place of clarity and strength. Attempting to hide in the comfort of denial, minimizing and enabling all the nonsense is what keeps family dysfunction going decade after decade, generation after generation. Believe it or not, you are under no obligation to participate in any of that. Further, if you're in a situation where there is an individual or individuals who are highly toxic, harmful, or maybe even abusive on some level to either yourself or others, it's vital that you tell yourself the truth. Just because you haven't seen them in 6 months or a year and your tendency is to slip into codependent amnesia, hoping against all hopes that it won't be as bad as it has been in the past, doesn't mean it won't be. That kind of thinking won't serve you. So again, don't sugarcoat anything and make your decisions from that place of clarity. Holiday tip number 2, ask yourself, do you really have to go? The truth is, guilt, shame, a sense of duty, and obligation are really powerful emotions. And for those of us who are coming from a really toxic, highly dysfunctional, and narcissistic family of origin, and we've had to navigate our way through all of those dynamics for many, many years and suffer all that goes along with the effects of having been targeted and abused or just merely steeped like a tea bag in low vibrational frequencies and that deep, deep unconsciousness. Whether it's the toxic gossips and the targeting of others, you know, whoever happens to not be in the room in the moment, or the targeting of you because you've been cast as the family scapegoat of your sick family system. Whatever it is, we know what the effects are. And if we're dirt honest with ourselves, we'll have to admit that often we're staying in the game with these people because we haven't done enough of our own work. And we're still seeking approval and validation from people who are never, ever going to give it to us. If they could, if they would, if they even wanted to, it would have happened a long time ago. So if guilt, shame, and a sense of duty and obligation is the driving force for your choosing to show up in these family dynamics, in particular because it's the holidays and you feel absolutely obligated to go in spite of the fact that you know that it's going to be harmful to your well-being, you might want to have a good hard look at that. What exactly is it that you're hoping to get out of showing up for people who are so harmful, who are so toxic, who have such noxious attitudes and behavior, who feel so entitled to target you or harm you in any way? If it's some form of love, acceptance, validation, or approval you're after, maybe it's time to start giving the love, acceptance, validation, and approval you're seeking from folks who aren't capable, who aren't willing, who aren't going to give it to you anyway. Maybe it's time that you start giving it to yourself. Why do we care so much about the opinions of folks who think and feel so little of us? And we know this by virtue of the way they behave, the way they treat us. So again, do we really have to go? Ask yourself and listen. I'm going to be honest with you. For some of you, that sense of obligation, that sense of duty, that crippling, overwhelming sense of fear of rejection and abandonment, that guilt or possibly shame, usually toxic shame that doesn't even belong to us to begin with, might be a good enough reason for you to go one more time. That might be the right choice for you. But for many of you, you've never even considered the possibility that you can opt out, that you don't have to go, that it's okay to say no. No, thank you. I'll pass. The more we become the generative source of self-love and self-esteem from within ourselves, the less we are going to feel compelled towards people and environments, no matter who they are, family or otherwise, who we know do not now, never have, and never will have our best interest at heart. People who rip us to shreds the moment our back is turned. People who judge and criticize every little thing about us without mercy and have no problem targeting us in our absence as well as our presence, no matter how passive-aggressively they may be doing so. They do not deserve the benefit of our presence, friends. The more we are standing on the firm foundation of self-esteem, self-love, healing, and recovery, the less we feel obligated to participate in toxic family dynamics, no matter what time of year it is. For those of you who identify with being a newly recovering codependent, or someone in need of codependency, adult child syndrome, and/or narcissistic abuse recovery, in other words, you grew up in a seriously sick and dysfunctional family, and you have yet to begin to do your own healing work, if you're wondering what all the anxiety is about, what all the procrastination is about, what all the limiting beliefs are about, what all the attracting one painful romantic relationship after another is about, well, it's about time to do your work. That's what it's all about. So for those of us for whom this is our reality, I'm here to tell you that continuing to show up in harmful family dynamics in the hopes that this year will be different and we're finally going to get our needs met, this is a really, really good way, not just to get sick, but to stay sick. What we're actually doing is putting our hand up and volunteering for more of the same. So consider the possibility, do I have to go in the first place? What is the absolute worst thing that could happen if you said, no thanks, not this year. I'm going to stay home instead. And instead, you chose to stay home and take care of yourself. And I get it, for some of you that means staying home by yourself. And I personally have made the choice many times when it was in my best interest to do so. And I get that that might mean staying home alone for some of you. So how about if you really know in your heart of hearts that actually what's in your best interest is to do that, and you chose to do what was in your best interest. You chose to cuddle up with a good book, have a bath, do some really nice things for yourself in the spirit of extreme self-love and extreme self-care, and you just took care of and nurtured yourself. Imagine what a concept. Make yourself your favorite food and just kick back and relax. Enjoy without steeping yourself like a tea bag in the toxicity, the drama, the chaos, and the nonsense. What if? What's the worst thing that could happen? For some of you, considering that and making that choice might be the best decision you could make all year. Holiday tip number 3, manage your expectations. Here's what I mean by that. If you do choose to go for whatever reason, reasons that are deeply personal and true for you going is the right decision, that's perfectly fine. But first and foremost, manage your expectations. The hope, as I've alluded to already, that our family or our in-laws, whoever these people are going to behave differently this year, can really set us up for disappointment, hurt, and depending on the circumstances, we can even become quite incapacitated by the drama and the trauma of it all. As I said, it takes time to recover from this nonsense. So if you're choosing to go and expose yourself to what you know up front is going to be a toxic environment with toxic and destructive people, make it your mission to just get in and out with as little discomfort and as little drama as possible. Have realistic expectations of what the event is going to be, and hold on to yourself. Imagine yourself in your own crystalline bubble, breathing into your body, feeling your feelings, telling yourself the truth about what you see, what you feel, what you hear. Doesn't mean you have to react to any of it. It doesn't mean you have to participate in any of it. You can stay calm, cool, collected, and detached by choice. It's not because someone provokes you that you have to react or respond. It's not because someone asks you a provocative question or makes a provocative statement that you have to engage. But go in with realistic expectations, holding on to yourself, envisioning yourself again in your pure crystalline bubble. Nothing gets in except what's for your highest good. Ride the time and do whatever you need to do to survive that time with these people, coming out the other side with, again, the least amount of drama and trauma as possible. Now, comment below and let me know whether or not you have concerns about heading into the holiday season with your toxic and dysfunctional family of origin, extended family, etc. And if so, what are you going to do to take care of yourself as you navigate your way through the holiday season? Also, if you'd like to learn more about the possibility of working with me in my 8-week transformational coaching program, The Freedom Class, there is a link in the description below where you can apply to see if you qualify for a free one-on-one consultation with either myself or a member of my team. Holiday tip number 4, have an exit strategy. Depending on the level of dysfunction that you might be dealing with in your particular family dynamic, you probably already know that things can get real heated and go real sideways really quickly, especially around the holidays when everyone is stressed out, overworked, overeating, overspending, drinking too much, not sleeping enough, and all the emotions are being stirred up. People are being exposed to their family of origin. All the stuff that tends to go on and gets triggered at this time of year. And when we are sleep deprived, stressed out, jacked up on things like wheat, sugar, and caffeine, and then you add things like alcohol to the mix, it's not a good mix. And disaster can ensue very easily. So make sure that you have an exit strategy, you have a solid plan where you are not reliant on anyone else if you decide it's time to go. It's your number one job and responsibility to take care of yourself. So go in with an exit strategy. And if things get too heated, go sideways, become too uncomfortable for any reason, you have the ability to leave and take care of yourself, whatever way you need to. Again, that is your responsibility. Holiday tip number 5, have a backup plan. In addition to having an exit strategy, you want to have a backup plan, or at the very least, some really close, safe friends you have on speed dial that you can call and get in contact with if you need to. If you need to reach out, if you need a sounding board, you've got someone in your corner. And remember, no one gets to hold you hostage just because it's the holidays. No one gets to target you, diminish you, or demean you, passively or aggressively, just because they're family. Please. It's important that we realize that just because people are family does not mean they are safe. And for some of us, they're anything but safe. And that can be a tricky one for those of us who are new to the conversation of codependency and narcissistic abuse, healing and recovery. And the reason for that is these people are supposed to be safe. These are the people who are supposed to love us, care about us, and our well-being. And although some of them, especially those who are more narcissistic, might be really good at putting on an act and making it appear that they care, while others are looking, when in reality, by virtue of the vast majority of your experiences with them, or in general, their behavior towards you is anything but caring. So, it's not because they are family. It's not because they put on a phony smile to your face or for the benefit of others and act like they're actually on your team, when in reality, the polar opposite is true, and you know by virtue of your lifelong experience with these people that they are not safe people. Maybe they are for others, but not for you. That's true sometimes. So give yourself a massive gift this year, and again, learn to tell yourself the truth and differentiate between who is and who is not safe for you. And if you're making a decision to expose yourself to unsafe people throughout the holidays, do it in a way where you are able to, as I said before, exercise extreme self-care. Do what you need to do to take care of yourself. As I said, no one gets to hold you hostage. Go in your own vehicle so you can leave in your own vehicle. Have a backup plan. Shorten the time that you're actually exposed. Or consider the possibility of not even going at all. I know that's quite radical. I can tell you that hasn't always made me very popular, but it has made me happy and peaceful. And I value my own well-being, my sense of self-respect, my personal integrity, my dignity, my peace of mind, my peace of heart, a whole lot more than I value the opinions of people who are ripping me to shreds the moment my back is turned. And for some of you, it's not even behind your back. For some of you, you are still being targeted directly while you're in the room. So worry more about your own opinion, your own sense of self-worth and self-respect. Do what you need to do to take care of you. Don't let anyone harm you. Don't let anyone hold you hostage. Learn to love yourself first and more. And the really cool thing is, from here, you can actually start to make forward progress in your own healing and recovery journey. And I promise you, it's a beautiful path to walk. My friends, I hope you got some value out of this today. If you liked what you heard, be sure to drop a like and a comment. Let me know what your biggest takeaway was. And if you're new to my channel, a very special welcome. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell to be notified when I post new videos throughout the week. And again, if you'd like to learn more about the possibility of working with me in my 8-week transformational coaching program, the Freedom Class, there is a link in the description below where you can apply to see if you qualify for a free one-on-one consultation with either myself or a member of my team. And as always, I'm going to leave you with this. Know your value. Know your value and unlock your freedom. Mwah. Much love. Bye for now.